Hi, so in this step, this is where kind of the rubber meets the road. And we're going to try and just log in and show you one of the things that we're doing to grow our accounts. Now, we mentioned plan A and plan B when we looked at the spreadsheet back in step one. Plan A is obviously more exciting for people. Now, the strategy I'm going to show you now, you can use for either. Okay, you can, if you want to do kind of less risky, steady, slow growth, okay, but that's probably more for another product. But you can also do this for plan A, and this is really good because what we're doing is we're kind of making as short as we can be that the trade is going to go our way by doing a number of factors. So I'm going to introduce you to one of the tools we have called the Harmonic scanner and one of the strategies we use. There may or may not be a trade. We will see. So let me just log in. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen now. And yeah, there we go. Move my picture out of the way. So if I log in, this tool is called the Harmonic scanner, and what it does basically, it goes and it looks for these patterns, these two sets of triangles. This one, for some reason, is called a Gartley. Okay, you can have alerts set up if you have this on your PC. If you have it installed on your PC, this is a web version, so this doesn't give me alerts, but there's a service for, I think it's like $3 or $4 a month. You can actually get stuff sent to you. So let's do this. Okay, so first of all, these patterns, they win about 89% of the time based on a 15% move from this point here to this point here. Okay, you don't really need to know that because all we do with this is we go for a small number of pips. Okay, so pips is how we measure profit and loss. Let me do something else here. So what's this is? So this is the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. So okay, so this looks interesting. So the next thing we do is we go and check the news. Now there's a site called Forex Factory, and this gives us important news events related to trading Forex. And what we're looking for predominantly are these red flags. Now you can see there was a red folder at 9:30, and it is now 12:57, so it's nearly 1 o'clock. So we're well past that. And we're coming up to the time when, actually I'm in the UK, we're coming up to the time when New York opens. So it's going to be a bit more volatile now, but this is just things you learn. You don't really need to know that, but just with a little bit of experience. So the scanner is telling me that I should be able to enter a trade here, and there's a strong likelihood of this trade winning, okay? Now, there's a few things we do. First of all, I'm going to put on something called, I click this indicator button up here, and I'm looking for Bollinger Bands, okay? And then I use stochastic. Now, these things are all just little ways, they're indicators telling us which way a trade is likely to go. So the pattern is our first indicator that this is looking good, okay? The second thing is we're looking for this, what's called candle. Let me zoom in. We're looking for these lines, so this is called a candle. We're looking for it to break this green entry line, and as you can see, it has. And we're also looking for the candle to be touching the outer edge of this Bollinger Band, or actually have broken through, and it's actually broken through in this case, so that's good. Then all we're looking for, and we don't, guys, we have like training on this, but I'm going through it quick because it is really simple. Have we got a shape? Yes or no? Well, yes, obviously we have. Has it broken the green line? Well, yes, it has. Is it touching the outer edge of that grey Bollinger Band, what's known as a Bollinger Band, or broken through? Well, yes, it has. Now, this is RSI, stands for Relative Strength Indicator. Is it above 70? In this case, for a sell, it's actually 80, so that's really good. And then these lines here, are they above 80? Yeah, 93. And if they cross, that's a really good sign, and it looks like they're crossing. And then ideally what you want to do is you want to wait for the next candle to start moving in the right direction. So I'm going to see a little trick. I'll give you a little trick. If you look at it on your computer, or you go to tradingview.com. So this is USD CAD. I've already got a couple of charts open in this, so let me see if it will let me. USD CAD. Okay. You see, I'm actually looking at something on here as we stand. But if I go to USD CAD, if it will let me, my free account, what we can do, we can go down to a 5-minute chart. And when we're waiting for that last candle to move, all we're looking for is, like, we're waiting for this to start moving in the right direction that we want it to go before we jump into the trade. And at the minute, it's hovering. We want it to go red, basically. So at the minute, this is still on a bit of a climb. Now, if you don't mind hanging on, we'll actually see what happens. Quite often, you're in and out of these trades pretty quick. So while this is happening, I'll show you another little trick. Again, guys, you know, this is all stuff that you easily pick up. You can draw a straight line. And again, this is all kind of taught inside what we learned from. And lines where the candles kind of hit and then change direction. So you can see this line here, look, quite a few times the candle hits there. The candles hit that point there, and draw a line all the way across. Oh, look, coincidentally, it's the same area now. So what happens when the candles hit that point? They tend to bounce in the other direction. And that's one of the things that form the basis of these patterns. So as you can see, it broke through here and then it came back down. So it might go up that high, it might go up there. And we can't be 100% certain that's going to happen. I say that this is, you know, Forex is a bit like a wild animal. You can study the animal, and based on the terrain and what it normally does, you can make a more than educated guess, your prediction on what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, it's still a wild animal, isn't it? So this is looking like a good trade, okay? But we're waiting on the candle going our way on the 5-minute. Now, the reason why these are called candles, look, you get these thin bits coming out the bottom there, the bottom and the top on that one, they're called wicks, and that's why they got the name candles, because they look like wicks. Zoom in even more, right at the top of the chart. Can you see a wick is forming? Oh, it's gone up again. You can see that that wick, though, means that the candle is coming down. Now, it's green because it's still up on the candle before at the minute, but you can see it is starting to come down. So this is looking like a potentially good trade for us. I'm actually going to get a chart ready to place a trade on this. Now, one of the things we don't do is show income. We don't show money, so I'm not actually going to show you on my computer on MetaTrader because that has got money showing in my account. USD CAD chart window. Very simple. You just put a few numbers in. And what we do, we look for this to go, we're only looking for about 5 pips movement, which isn't a lot. Now you see it's a good job I didn't jump in because it's gone up again. Candle still blue. So it's broken through a little bit, but only a little bit, that point of what's known as resistance in this case, because that's where it bounces back from. So it went up as high as there before. If I do another line in a different color, do a red one, you can see it went as high as there before. So I just need to, this is the only bit of skill required with this. This is where you need to make a little bit of decision on when you get in, and that little trick of waiting for the 5-minute candle. So each of these is worth 5 minutes, okay? And then you can change it to 15, which means that each one of these candles is worth 15 minutes. And you can see, look, it's forming a wick again. I know somebody that does very well with this. I mean, I do very well with this strategy. Okay, I tend to be a bit more free and easy, but I have a friend and he does very well. And what he does is he waits for a 5-minute candle to finish in the color that he wants. So he would wait, So this new candle has just started, so that one's now redundant. So we'd be looking for this one to finish red. I don't mind hanging on if you guys don't mind watching. You can always skip forward a little bit. But this is all you do. And people think you have to be in front of charts all day. Now, if you're thinking you have to be in front of charts all day, just how long have we been on? Once I decide to enter the trade, I'm kind of in and out very quickly. So where are we? That's what I want to see. I want to see it coming down. So it's now further out of the Bollinger Bands. It's currently 82 on the RSI, so it's well above 70. It should never really get to 100. Okay. These lines have crossed, which is a good sign, and they're still well above 80. I mean, that blue one there is like 99. It's really high. By all intents and purposes, this should be coming down. Now it's starting to go red. But I'm not going to jump in. I'm not going to jump in just yet. Let's just give it another little, see, this is what we want. It looks like it's starting to turn around. And the reason it is because the shape is one confirmation, the green line is another confirmation, the Bollinger Bands is another confirmation, the RSI is another confirmation, and the stochastic is another confirmation. Could it still go wrong? Of course it could. That's why we wait for the candle, and even then, wait for this one to turn red. And even then, it's only another confirmation. Still nothing is guaranteed. But if I told you my win rate, you'd be impressed. Let's just say that. And I don't win every trade. And I don't want to kind of intentionally win, but I won. I think my record is like 17 out of 17. Gives you an idea. Now, at this point, this candle here, again, just little things that you pick up as you do. I didn't know this to start with, but if that candle finishes like that, that's like a little spinning top. That is a period of indecision. That means the candle doesn't know, the price is making a decision which way it's going to go. It's not sure. But because of all the other confirmations, we're pretty sure it's going to come down. So that's a definite down move. That's a definite up move, definite up. That wasn't sure there. It decided it was going to go up again. And that's a definite up. That's a definite up. This one is looking like it's the candle we've been waiting for. I'll just quickly look at this. I'll just explain something else. Again, you don't need to know this, but if we look at the distance here from C to D, there's a little ruler here. So I can click and I can drag up, and it tells me up to that D point, that D line, which is a bit hidden, but I'm about there. Okay, it's telling me that there's 685 points. But ignore the last digit, so there's 68 pips to be had here. So if I measure, if I say 68 times 15%, that's 10 pips. And that's what I'm going to go for in this trade. And that 15% is important because when independent studies have shown that these patterns, these harmonic patterns, they work 89% of the time, and they class a win as when it's gone 15% of that move. Now, I'm going to go into this trade now. Okay, so I got into the trade. I'm now live trading. I got into the trade just there. That's where I got in. Okay, so now we're just going to sit it out and wait and see what happens. If I go, so what is that? That's 130207. So I'm going to draw another line. 1301. So 130, what did I say it was? Sorry, 130207. I want 107. Near enough. Okay, so we have a little useful tool called an exit manager that will just basically help us close out the trade without us having to be there, or I can set that price in as my take profit. Okay, so now we wait. So you can see at the minute I'm losing a few pips, not a lot. And, you know, I don't know how long I'll stay on because obviously it's probably very boring for you to watch. But again, you can skip forward and, you know, I'm not going to be here an hour because that's the point. You know, you set it up and you go. Now, we also set what's called a stop loss in case the trade goes the wrong way. Now, if we come back to the scanner, they do suggest a stop loss. And they are suggesting, you know, that is where to get out the trade if it goes wrong, God forbid. Okay. So I'm just going to put my stop loss in, and we teach proper risk management. So if the trade does go wrong, we don't lose, you know, too much money or any money. Well, if the trade loses, you're going to lose some, but as a percentage of your account, it's going to be a very low percentage. We typically go with, say, maybe 3%. Some people do 2%, some people do 5%, but 3% is about the norm. So you see it's retesting that area again at the minute. Maybe I'll pause the video to save you guys hanging on. Okay, and what I'll do as well, I'll put a vertical line right there. That's when we got in roughly. Let me move that. Oops. So that's the candle I got in at, basically. That's when I decided to get into this trade. So let me pause the video. And I'll see you soon. Okay, so we're resuming the recording. Share screen. Let me just show you where we're up to. So this is how it's looking on here. Okay, and if we go over to our trading view, you can see this is where I got in. This line here is when I started time-wise. So it's been kind of 2.5, 5, 10, 15, 20. It's been 22 minutes. And we're about halfway there. Now, the reason why I came back on now is because at halfway there is when you can lock in some potential profit. So you can take some of your profit and make sure that's safe. And then the other thing you can do is, you see up here, there was the stop loss. Well, now that prices moved down, I could also change my stop loss from there. I don't think it'll let me move that line. Yeah, it will. So rather than it be up there and I can lose all that distance, I can move it down because it's still going to give the trade from where it is now room to go up and down a little bit. So I'm still kind of sorted there. So I'm reducing my risk and I can lock in some profit. And again, these are things that you taught. So when we talk about Forex being risky, when people say it's risky and we have to put disclaimers in and say, you know, listen, trade at your own risk and never trade with more than you can afford to lose. Yeah, absolutely, we have to say that. But we're not going for that many pips here. We've locked in some profit. We've got all these confirmations telling us that the trade should go the way we want it to go. So, you know what, guys? You know, yeah, there is some risk. Let's just say that, shall we? Okay. And I have to say, and I am upfront with everybody, there is risk. And what's great about this is you can actually trade on demo. So you're not risking any real money to start with. So what's it been? 5, 10, 30, so like I say, it's been about, well, maybe 25 minutes in total now. You can see this is coming down to our green line. As soon as that hits our green line, this trade is classed as a success. And it's getting very close. We're only a couple of pips away now. So what I'll do is I'll just pause the video again just for these last few minutes and we'll see how we do. Hi guys, we're recording again. Let me jump on, share the screen. It's just touched that line. It's just touched that line. There we go. There we go. So guys, you've just seen me do a trade. start to finish, and I've grown my account today just doing this. I've grown my account about 8% today. And you know, I've waited for this one 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, so let's say 30 minutes. But the actual analysis bit I was explaining to you probably only took, what, if I wasn't explaining it, probably 2 minutes. So there you go, successful trade, and I've just closed out my 10 pips for profit. And you know, grown my account, which is beautiful. Now, while I was just waiting for that to move, now look, what happens? Could we have got more? Yes, well, obviously it's gone over. Will it come down more? Yes, maybe. In fact, according to the scanner here, it might go down as far as, well, there ultimately. But what we're doing is we're removing all the risk. We're only going for those small amount of pips. So whether it carries on all the way down here, honestly, I'm not bothered. I've grown my account today by my target amount, plan A. So that's all I worry about. Now, another trade got called. Let's have a look at that one. Let's see if it's on here. NZDJPY. Now, this one I won't take for a few reasons, but the main one is if we look at this distance between C to D. Easy to measure. It's 23 pips. What's 15% of that? Not a lot. It's not worth me looking at. Okay, so you don't have to take every trade at all. There's always another trade. That's the beautiful thing about this tool. It's calling out trades all day long, all the time the markets are open, and we can just pick the best ones, the absolute best ones. So I hope you found that useful. I hope you found that interesting. That's what I'm doing. This is one way, okay, but personally it's my favorite way, and lots of people are using this. Just to close out, just to let you know, the trade is moving the other way now, you see. So although we could have made a little bit more, it's not worth taking the risk. It might still come down, but I'm happy. I'm done trading for the day. Even if we said I waited for it, that's half an hour out of my day to go and trade. Not a problem. You also don't have to be waiting for the trades to call. Like I say, it calls trades all day. There's other things you can do. You can look for the 1 hour and the 4 hours, so you're not like having to jump in. And I do those as well, but this was a good one to show you how it works. So you saw it live, folks. See you on the next video.